Hey guys, I hope you are doing great. Uh, Today we are going to discuss about Chrome Dev Tools, uh, which is a really useful tool if you're working in software development and testing space. Uh, Working on Chrome Dev Tools from quite some time. Now, Chrome Dev Tools is a beast. Uh, it's a really big tool, though it's part of Chrome. Don't underestimate it. It's an application in itself, and there's a huge documentation available from Google. Uh, I'll post a link in the video. You can go and explore. Uh, but in this tutorial series we'll be discussing really important features that Chrome DevTools provide, which you can use in your day-to-day life to get maximum productivity. So without further ado, let's get started. So first things first, how to open Chrome DevTools. There are a couple of ways. Let's see the most basic one. You can click on the three uh, dots icon over here. You can go to more tools and then click on developer tools. Alternatively, you can click on command option I if you are using Mac. Uh, Now this is how Chrome DevTools look like. At a high level, you see all these tabs. Now we're gonna go through most of these tabs, and I'll explain the main features of these tabs. But today we are gonna focus on network tab. Now, what does a network tab do? Well, many things, but at the most fundamental level, network tab captures the request that we send to the server and the response we get from the server. So, as soon as I click on any link on this website, you'll see that the network tab will start recording the activity. So, let's click on home tab. I guess we are already on home tab, so nothing happens. Let's click on bank accounts, and you see some activity over here. Now let's look at the request. So there was one request sent to the server, and it could be more. It could be 50 requests. Sometimes you can click on a link on website and it could initiate 50 requests. But good thing over here we've got only one request, so uh, it will be better for me to explain concepts to you. So the name of the request is bank accounts, and there are other details like status is HTTP status, so 200 means the request was successful. The type of request, which is XHR, will dive into types of request more in later videos. Initiator is basically who initiated this request. Size, here we can see 262 bytes transferred over the network, and the total time it took. So it took 2 milliseconds to uh, get the request and response. Now let's click on the request for a moment. So if you click on the request name, you'll get more details about the request. So you see a new window opens within the existing window, and we have some tabs over here. So all these tabs are focused on this request. They show data, they show more details about this request. So we have headers, preview, response, initiator, timing, and cookies. So let's start with headers. So under headers, we have, let's see, we have, for this request, we have three sections. Let's collapse all the sections for a moment. So as you can see, for this request, we have three sections. The first section is general. So if you expand this section, you get general information like the request URL. So this is the request URL. Now I'm running this application on uh, my local host, which means basically on my Mac. This is not hosted on any server. That's why it says localhost 3001 bank accounts. But let's assume for a moment that this website is actually hosted on internet, and the name of the website realworld.app. Let's imagine that this local host is replaced with real world app. So it would look like http real world app slash bank accounts. So this is basically the URL to which the request was sent. Next is the request method. In this case, the request method is get. HTTP protocols has got a bunch of methods. The major ones are get, put, post, and delete. In this case, we are using get, and get is basically used to get data from the server. Next is status code. Status code is 200 OK. So 200 basically means the request was successful. There were no issues. After that, let's look at response headers. Let's look at request headers before going to response. Let's see what we have been sending to the server for this request. So we see accept application JSON text plain. So this header basically is telling the server that this request will be able to accept JSON format or plain text format or any other format. So this star means basically any format. Then we have some encoding information, accept language. Let's keep encoding. Accept language. So it says accept English US. Then we have some cookie information, host again. So as I said, this app is hosted on my local host on my Mac, so that's why we have this address. Then we have user agent. So for user agent field, you see it says Mozilla, it says Apple WebKit, it says Chrome, it says Safari. So it can get confusing, right? Like, why do you have all these different browser names? Uh, but there is reasons for putting all this information over here. I'm not 100% aware of all the details, but from my own research, this is what I know. Mozilla, this does not mean it is Firefox. Mozilla is because of some browser wars. I don't know why, but don't treat Mozilla in the user agent field as the Firefox browser. It is not. Then you have the uh, operating system information. So in this case, it is Mac. Then you have Apple WebKit. So this is the platform that this browser is using. And then you have Chrome, which is the browser we are using. So this is what we are using to send the request to the server. So it provides the browser name and it also provides the version. And then Safari again, because of some historical reasons. So this is what you should focus on. This is the user agent. So user agent is basically, this field tells the server like who made the request. So this when server receives the request, it looks at this field and uh, it gets to know uh, who made the request. So sometimes uh, browsers could make the request to the server. uh, Even programs like a Java program or Python program could make a request to the server. So basically this field lets the server know who made the request. Now let's look at response headers. So this were request headers. So this were sent along with the request to the server. And these are response headers. So this were sent by the server to the browser along with the response that it sent. Now over here, again, there are many headers, but we are only going to look at the major ones. Over here we have some access control headers. So whenever you come across access control headers, uh, just know that they are related to security. So they are basically there to secure your access to the website. Having said that, uh, let's park these headers uh, for a later video where I'll dive into the security aspects of these headers, and we'll discuss more. For now, just know that these are related to security. The next is content length. So what we are seeing right now are just the headers, the request headers, the response headers. Uh, they are not the actual response body itself. So response body is separate, and we are going to discuss that. But the headers are sent on the top of the actual response, and it's basically metadata about the response. So the content length field over here tells you how long is the response. Next is content type. So this basically conveys uh, the type of response that we have got from the server. So this particular field tells us that server has sent a JSON response with the UTF-8 character set. Next is date and time, and yeah, I guess that's all. That's all the important headers we have under the headers section.